So speaking of that gut feeling, a lot of us have that gut feeling, and some people even refer to it as your second brain. But the thing with gut feelings that I find is like there's often no, in most cases, there's no concrete evidence. Sometimes it doesn't even seem to make sense logically, but you feel so strongly and passionate about it. So for things like that in your life, like, are you the type of person to just like jump right into it? Or do you kind of take baby steps? Because, going into the freelance world,
Mhm.
it could be a big jump, especially if you're used to getting like a bi-weekly check or whatever the situation
Yeah,
is.
because that is very challenging. I always tell people I could not travel. I didn't feel comfortable like eating out and doing
Hmm.
any of the things I used to enjoy once I went full-time freelance, because you just don't know where
Hmm.
your next commission is coming from, or whatever the case is. But to answer your question, I'm definitely more of not even necessarily baby steps, but like a planner. Like I won't feel comfortable taking any type of leap if I know that I haven't put in the work to make sure that I'm ready for what I want to come from it. And
Mm,
that's a question I get a lot. People are like, how did you know when to quit your job? Or how did you know
mm,
you were ready? And it was in my head, it was never a question of like, when is the right time to do this. It's like, I want to do this, so this is what I'm doing in the meantime. I'm saving money.
mhm,
I'm making alliances and friendships in the art world in my community.
mhm.
I am putting my work out there. I'm starting my website. Like I'm doing all of these things so that whenever the time does come, like
Mhm.
I'm not starting from nowhere. Like, okay, I quit my job, now how do I build a website? It's like, I already
Right,
have a website, I already have clients. Like when I quit my job, I can just take on more. I can
right,
do this differently, but it's not like, where am I going to start?
right, right. No, and I think that's very clutch. What you just mentioned is you already started doing the work before jumping full fledged in, which I know some people do, but I do like the calculated approach. So, question number two, from your experience when teaching, or from when you were teaching and working with young women, what are some common things you see, whether it be mentally or physically, holding young women back when it comes to starting or growing a business?
Um, I think there's like three main things that
Hmm.
stick out to me. One of them is waiting for a sign, waiting for support, waiting to feel 100% ready.
Right.
And that kind of contradicts what I said before about just like the stepping stones and stuff. But I think it comes to a place where you're also during that time developing your own confidence in yourself and your own belief that no matter what, you're going to make it happen, and those
Hmm.
fears, all of that. So what ends up happening is when people are not secure within themselves to know that, like, I know for a fact I'm going to do whatever it takes to make my dream come true, they start looking to fill that void on the outside. So they're looking for support from friends and support from
Hmm.
families. And then that becomes like a sense of like where the excuses come from. Like, well, nobody supports me. Nobody wants to see me win in this way, and all of
Hmm.
those things. And I think it's very important to first like be your own cheerleader
Hmm.
and know, like, have confidence and know that you're going to do whatever it takes to make that come true, because that support from the people you're looking for it from may never come. And I think you still owe it to yourself to follow your dreams, because your fan base may not be your family or your friends. They may be
Right.
somewhere out there in the world really needing what it is that you want to build and what you want to create.
Right.
um, and then I think people spend too much energy on the wrong things during their building period, whether it's friendships or relationships or being in the party scene, or all of these like unhealthy habits that end up clogging your mental space of
Hmm.
being able to focus on your dream and like building that. I think it's very important to be mindful of that, because sometimes we don't notice, it becomes normal
Hmm.
to live in a state where like you're gossiping with friends or you're constantly repeating patterns in relationships. And so
Hmm.
because it's your norm, you don't realize the time of your day that's eaten up, distracted by these things. But once you get really serious about your goals and you have like a no tolerance for those distractions, you realize like how much time becomes just flexible and fluid, and you can just do so much more, because your mood is not being turned up and down like a roller coaster. Your time is not being eaten away because, you know, you're spending all Friday night and Saturday night in the club, and then Sunday night you have to recover. Monday you're back at work and you're like, well, I have no time. So I think it's
Mhm.
very important to be mindful about the time, like where you're putting your time and your focus.
Right, right. And I think you hit on a few key things there. So one, when you talk about a lot of people not being secure within themselves, the way that that translates to my brain is some people um, have a deep rooted fear of being alone, and they might not vocalize it as being alone, but they need that validation, right? And to your point, they have to be their biggest cheerleader. So you need to be able to validate yourself, and I think that just comes down to putting in the work so you gain confidence in your work. So there's something that's called the competence confidence loop. And it basically says whatever you're competent in, so you're a visual artist, so you're competent in that. The more you do that, the more confidence you gain. So therefore you gain more security in yourself, and therefore you have more belief in what you do. And so a lot of people are not putting in that time, so they're not becoming that competent, therefore they don't have that confidence, and because they don't have that confidence, they're looking to get it from other people. And then when you talk about, in the beginning, a lot of people putting their time and energy into the wrong things or the wrong resources, that to me translates to people often major in the minors and major in the minors and minor in the majors. The things that they should be focusing on, they don't allocate enough time towards. And that also just comes down to discipline, which I think a lot of people do lack. And as much as we all talk about, we want to be free and I want freedom and it's my choice, my body, whatever, but freedom doesn't come without discipline, as we all know.